A new rumor alleges that Ubisoft is desperate to avoid another Star Wars Outlaws with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Roll this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. Encourage you to head on over and become a paid subscriber. It costs just $5 a month. That's less than a Starbucks coffee. And you get all kinds of pop culture news, video game news, not just articles like this one. We're covering everything from books, movies, comic books, TV shows, everything. If it's pop culture, we are covering it here at Fandom Pulse. So it is a excellent bargain, and we are fully reader funded. So let's get into this right here. Former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, aka Grums, shared information he heard from his insiders, writing on X, Ubisoft, desperate to avoid another Star Wars Outlaws, fear YouTube reaction on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Sources tell me they are putting a tremendous amount of time into polish and bug fixes for the smoothest possible launch. Kern's claim comes in the wake of Warhorse Studios creative director Dan Vavra revealing on Czech YouTube channel Vox News that large video game developers are, quote, terrified of YouTubers like Critical Drinker and Asmongold. As translated by Reddit user Prizak, Vavra said this, listen, I've even heard that there are big developers, companies really scared of hate tubers, let's say. The kind of guys who started criticizing. Critical Drinker, Asmongold, and others who started criticizing big companies. And I thought it was so niche. Okay, he's Asmon, got like a few million followers. His videos have some impact, but it's definitely not what everybody is watching. And now I found out from some people that companies are really terrified of them, and it's really having an impact. That when somebody starts to critique the game and the corporate world, that it does have an impact. Vavra then shared his own criticisms of AAA studios and how they react to the criticisms made by Asmongold, Critical Drinker, and others. He says, and it's unsustainable how these corporations do it, considering that they've now made games that nobody wanted, and they even said it when those gamers started complaining that they didn't like it and they didn't want that kind of game. And the developers started telling them that they were stupid and that it wasn't a game for them, which is completely bizarre that you're insulting your own customers. And this isn't going away, right? I just did a video yesterday. Tim Kaine, Fallout creator, was admitting or was claiming that developers have no idea what gamers want. And then he spent the entire article talking about it's the fault of the gamers and blamed gamers for the fact that game devs seemingly don't know what gamers want, which I found utterly bogus and completely disingenuous and fake, given everything we know about video game development, all of the data, all of the marketing research, and everything that goes into it. And then obviously you have all of the YouTube criticisms, etc., making it very clear what people don't like and also what they do like. So, anyways, that's still happening. So I definitely feel like there is some validity to this. To Grums' rumor here that they do indeed fear the YouTube reaction on Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think that's why they went out and tried to buy all of the YouTube reaction with Star Wars Outlaws. It did not work. They tried to buy positive YouTube coverage for that game. Remember, CEO Yves Guillemot of Ubisoft said that Star Wars Outlaws was going to have the largest marketing budget an Ubisoft game ever had. They were flying people out to Disneyland, giving them behind-the-scenes Disneyland trips, whining and dining them, etc. And it did not work. It did not work at all. Furthermore, we did get a press release from Ubisoft announcing that they were delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows another month. The game was originally delayed from November to February and was more recently delayed again from February to March. That more recent delay, they shared this in a press release saying, additionally, as part of the renewed focus on gameplay quality and engaging day one experiences, it has been decided to provide an additional month of development to Assassin's Creed Shadows. This additional time will allow the team to better incorporate the player feedback gathered over the past 3 months and help create the best conditions for launch by continuing to engage closely with the increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community. The game is now scheduled for March 20. CEO Yves Guillemot also said this, we are all behind our team's efforts to create the most ambitious Assassin's Creed opus of the franchise and made the decision to provide an extra month of development to Shadows in order to better incorporate the player feedback gathered over the past 3 months. That will enable us to fully deliver on the potential of the game and finish the year on a strong note. So if any of that sounds familiar, it should, especially those comments about the positive community, or what does he say? Increasingly positive Assassin's Creed community is what they say in the press release. Well, that's what they were saying all the way back with Star Wars Outlaws. But let's talk about this first too, because Guillemot says this he makes similar comments in a conference call as well. So these are their talking points, right? He was asked about what the player feedback was that they were incorporating into the game's development. And he said, on Assassin's Creed, we took the benefit of these additional months to gather more player feedback while engaging even more with our community. We've seen an increasingly positive reaction from the overall community, so we want to pursue that momentum, and to incorporate the latest feedback will allow us to deliver on our commitment to provide with a great experience by the time we launch. So we will continue to fine-tune the gameplay mechanics and progression balancing, and we will provide, as we said, as he mentioned, we will provide players with hands-on sessions starting next week. So if that all sounds familiar, it should, because that's literally what this guy was saying ahead of the release of Star Wars Outlaws. Because ahead of that game's release in July 2024, Guillemot said this: what we have factored in is a strong launch for Star Wars Outlaws, and that reflects the fact that it is among the most awaited games of the industry this year, and a really strong positive community sentiment. Sounds very familiar, right? Really strong positive community sentiment. And then he goes on and confirms that what I just kind of talked about, the marketing campaign, and also the fact that we are coming with the biggest marketing campaign ever so far for an Ubisoft game. So that's what we've been factoring in the second quarter. In the company's first half 2024-25 earnings figures report, it noted that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed sales expectation. The game would release on Steam in November after originally being released on console, the Ubisoft app that they've got, or service, whatever, at the end of August. And when it released on Steam, it bombed. It did not just flop. It never even came to life. It only hit a peak concurrent player count of just 2,492 at the end of November. In the last 24 hours, the game only hit a peak of just 849 players there. You can see this curve. I think this here is because they discounted the game heavily over Christmas. And you can see it's kind of already on the downward trend again. And I expect it to kind of keep going down as that sales has kind of ended, right? And the people that were playing it are likely to have stopped playing it very quickly because they're just not interested in that game whatsoever and what they offered. So that is what Ubisoft is doing. They are repeating the same kind of things that they did with with Star Wars Outlaws, with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And as I said, I think that they should be terrified, because I haven't seen any tangible efforts where they've actually made any kind of significant changes to this game to basically get any of this positive community sentiment, if it is real in the first place. And I think that they are going to pay the price. They would have been better to have released it in November, even with it being if it was a buggy mess, because they would have at least gotten more sales than due to the Christmas season than what they're going to get here in March, even if they release it in March. Who even knows if they'll release it right? They've already delayed it twice. But I think they should be desperate, and they should be afraid, because I think this game is going to get lampooned no matter what, especially because of its story. And I think that's the major factor that has been criticized, and we have not seen any kind of discussion on that. In fact, what we've seen is them doubling down that they're going to continue to push kind of the agenda that they already said they were going to push with this game, and the reason why they chose Yasuke to be a main protagonist in the first place. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to be charitable, to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.